That's so. For the first time tonight, I want to welcome you to this episode of Fave Five From Fans, the podcast where we explore only once all things favorite. I'm your host, Jamie Ray, and today, for the first time tonight, we have David M. zooming in to discuss our Fave Five car movies right here in the Plastic Microphone Studios, which you may notice is lit up a little different thanks to this guy. I all hail Dave. He gifted me a set of professional lights, and they still can only do this. So, he
We're gonna
told me
work
for
on the
Christmas
rest
he's
of
going to
it.
get me a makeup artist. So we got that to look forward to. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me back.
Well, I mean, back to the show, but the first time tonight.
For sure.
For sure. For sure.
Can you tell I have a terrible poker face?
If anybody has ever been on my show, you know what's going on. So, and if you don't, you have to come on the show and it'll probably happen to you. Okay, so before we get started, I have to tell you, because if I don't tell you, Cody is going to have it posted all over the internet anyway, and because it's pretty daggone funny. I just did a con this weekend, and I had a panel that was supposed to be at 10:30. Okay, or at least I thought it was supposed to be 10:30. Everywhere I put it, I put 10:30, 10:30, 10:30. Okay,
Okay.
10:30, like 10:15, I get down there. Kimmy B is with me. She was my volunteer for the day. Thank you, Kimmy. You were fantastic. Okay. But anyway, so we get down there, nothing works. The TV won't come on, and I get it to finally connect. It keeps dropping it, all of this stuff. Then we get the microphones, they won't come on. We're turning things on, turning things off, come to find out they didn't have batteries in them. Anyway, nobody shows up, which is fine because it's like a quarter to 11 and we finally get everything worked out. So we're like, okay, well, never mind. Um, Cody, I thought was going to be on the panel. I just figured he was running late. I didn't want to call him because he had so many things to do. It's okay. 12:31, I get a text from Cody. I look down. He's like, "Hey, dude, it's 12:30. I'm sitting at the table and I'm sitting at the panel. Are we doing this?" And I'm like, "No, it was 10:30, but he says, "No, look on the sign, look on the website." And I'm like, "Oh my God, it is." So I rushed down there and we did it and we had a great time. So if you know me, that's about par for the course. So
If you know, you know.
if you know, you know. So anyway, we are going to talk about Fave Five car movies. We both have two honorable mentions.
Mm-hmm.
But first, why car movies?
Because I have always been a car guy ever since I was a little kid. There are pictures of me where my uncle, who was a total gearhead, literally has me sitting on the bed cover of his custom truck. Then there are pictures of me as a young one next to his Ford Pinto with a Chevy boat motor that he dropped in it, and that was a
Hopefully,
drag car.
were you holding a fire extinguisher just in case?
I was nowhere near this vehicle because that vehicle could kill people.
My grandmother had one of those. And it wasn't until I got older that I realized what a fire trap they were. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Infamously enough, yes, they are in fact fire traps. And I remember him
Yeah.
telling me that he had to completely relocate the fuel tank for
Hmm.
drag purposes.
Yeah. So I wonder if they called it wildfire. There's a you get it?
Nope.
America, there's a song. They called her wildfire. Anyway. So Uncle got you into it,
And my grandfather, yes. There,
and
but
your
my
grandfather.
grandfather is one of those guys who had a the old man car with a Corvette engine. He had a SS Impala with an
Oh,
LS3 vet in it.
wow.
Uh-huh. And my grandfather was one of those guys that whenever they made people put seatbelts in their cars, he cut them out. He was just
There's
I'm not gonna do
America.
Yeah,
All
no, he
wheels.
just liked to go fast and liked to
I
do
got
it wild.
suspenders. I don't need no belt.
Pretty much. That is him to the T. And that is my pedigree, as you say,
That
when
is
it comes to
awesome.
cars.
And you're still a car and truck enthusiast right now.
Correct. I am. I have
Yeah.
both.
Yeah. So the legend lives on. As we
Yes, it
discussed in
does.
our previous episode, you have a Challenger,
Yep.
correct? An
Mhm.
RT
Yep.
with beautiful little the top and the part that goes over the vroom vroom part. That's just really awesome.
The hood, Jamie.
Yeah. Yeah, in the hood. I mean, I don't know where you live, but oh, that was nope. Back that up.
I,
Rewind. Nope.
I got that
Nope.
joke.
Yeah. Okay, so I think if you're ready, I'm ready. For the first time ever, let's hear tonight your two honorable mentions.
Okay. Um, my first honorable mention is Drive Angry with Nicolas Cage with the Chad Kroger haircut,
Oh my God.
which is one of the most like look,
I gotta look that
Nicholas,
up because I'm just not familiar with that.
dude, look it up. It is one of the strangest. I was so confused. Look, that man has looked a lot of weird ways over time. And this is probably the weirdest because he really did just look like the Nickelback guy,
He does.
right? He's got
With a big,
long blonde hair with
huge
black
pimple over his
roots.
face. Uh,
And then he was sporting Oakleys. Like it was like they were trying to make a movie about a dude from a trailer park in Livingston Parish.
and this guy, like the guy in it, that's Will Patton, right?
I think it's Fickner.
Pickner. No, the one that was in Armageddon.
No, I think his last name is Fickner.
Fickner.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, I know who you're talking about. And yes, that's him in the strangest movie he's been in with the
Oh.
weirdest role he's ever been.
Mm.
And I mean, yeah, no, this was a weird movie. It was a weird movie because they couldn't figure out whether or not they wanted to be serious or goofy because there were
Gotcha.
some parts that were super serious. And like, you were like, oh, really? That's the way they went with that? And then
Yeah.
there were other parts where they're like, yeah, I'm going to drink a beer out of the top of this dead guy's skull. So I guess they
Okay.
were just rolling the dice every other one. Or like, is it going to be serious or not? Roll for serious. And it just,
So interesting thing. I looked him up, and on IMDb, you got the known four, and it shows like four movies.
mm-hmm.
There's Crash,
Okay.
Drive Angry,
Yep.
Armageddon,
Yep.
and Black Hawk Down.
Yeah.
Four movies all about things running into things. I'm just, that's what it is. Okay? That's what it is. And the car in this movie,
In the
like we talked
car,
about,
yes.
well, we talked about off camera, not on camera, and I wasn't recording it at the time. Um, Cars can play a character, kind of like
Right.
Kit from
Mhm.
TV, but we're not talking about TV. We're talking about movies. But
Yep.
so, what was the character in this movie?
So honestly, I think the car in this movie did all of the heavy lifting because it was the one thing that was consistently good was the choice of car. And it was like they were like, well, we can't figure out whether or not this is going to be a good movie, but we are going to make sure that we get from one end of the screen to the other on a pretty set of four wheels. And in this one,
Ooh.
it was a Charger, which is one
You
of my
you like
favorite
Charger?
vehicles. I
Yeah,
like Chargers and Challengers, definitely my favorites. Um,
Chargers and Challengers. Oh my!
we're gonna put the other ones out there, Jamie. Come on, finish the song. um, but and they did eventually have a Chevelle and a Nova, which was nice. And this is kind of what I mean, though. In this movie, the Dodge did so much heavy lifting, and then they had two other Hot Rods cameo, and more
Wow,
people were excited about the cameo of the cooler cars at the end than they were about everything else that happened.
wow.
But
Was there
yeah,
like a supernatural element to this? Oh,
to the movie or the cars?
yeah, to the movie.
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. All right. Never saw it, but because you like it so much, I'm going to put it on my list.
All right.
Okay, and then you have another one.
I did.
You
You kind of
did.
ruined it though.
Yeah.
Because I was
I
because I
mean,
was I
I'm
was gonna name a movie, but now I've got to,
I'm
this
so
is your
sorry.
fault. This
I
is your
didn't mean to
fault.
do that. I'm
I know you
sorry.
didn't mean to, but look, the whirlwind is yours to reap. So it's going to be Knight Rider, but it's going to be the new one, not the old one.
Um, okay. Oh, well, wait a minute. There was a TV movie with the
Mhm.
old kit, and Jimmy Doohan, Scotty from Star Trek, was in it. So then we can put an asterisk, and you can go with the new series.
All right. Well, the new series had technically had a TV movie too because
Oh,
it was
okay.
a 2 hour pilot. I think it was an hour and a half or a 2 hour pilot, and the kit in this was, and I think this in and of itself is the credit, all the credit it needs, street cred as it were. Is Val Kilmer was the voice of Kit in this.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that is cool.
Yep. And then
I did not know
Carr,
that.
the evil brother of Kit, was voiced by, I can't remember his name, and I feel terrible because I grew up with his voice, but it was the guy who does Optimus Prime. He was Carr, which was a
Oh,
throwback to the
wow.
original show.
Okay. I know who you're talking about, but yeah, I can't place him either. So this was the one that had all of the different style vehicles.
Correct.
Had a car and they had a truck and they had a an ice cream truck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I had a
I
bunch
think
of preposterous things. But I mean,
no, he
this
had that
show is
cool.
basically a big commercial for Ford.
Yeah, that's true because the truck was a Ford truck.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it now. Oh, this was a Shelby Cobra.
Yep, GT 500. Yeah,
Thought there was a
technically they were
snake in the
trying to
ring,
make it a
didn't you?
super snake. But one of the things I thought was funny was when they introduced the new fast, I say the new, back whenever they went from that generation to the new fastback or the newer fastback, I guess, they disguised it as the new one. So they had a regular Mustang, the Super Snake, then they had the Ford truck, and it was a whole bunch of things. I mean, it was a very entertaining commercial.
So I was just looking it up, and
Mm-hmm.
I remember this show, but particularly the show where the hot babe, who's played by Deanna Russo, and the guy who's driving the car, Justin Bruning or whatever, are trapped inside Kit while there's a firestorm on the outside of it. I think they like sprayed something and caught it on fire, and it was like getting really, really, really hot, and they had to strip down to their underwear. But she doesn't take her necklace off. So, I remember that one.
Oh yeah, the part that was least about the car, huh, Jamie?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there was a car. Yes. Yes, there was a car.
They happened to be in one.
Right. Right. Now, I remember this one though. Yeah. Yeah, it was a cool one. And I'm glad you brought it. And you know what? Because you were so brave, what was your original honorable mention number two?
The Italian Job.
Oh, which one?
I mean, I never saw the old one.
Oh, really? The
Mm-hmm.
old one was those little cars too, but the original
Mm-hmm.
versions of them.
Well,
Yeah.
they tried. So I watched the making. I remember I had used to have this DVD, and back whenever I did have a DVD player and watch DVDs, I always would watch the all of the content that was in the menu, and
Oh,
they were
me too.
talking. Yeah, and they talked about how the car that Charlize Theron drives originally is a throwback, is like a homage to the first one.
Oh,
So they
okay.
drive one of those in it, and that's the thing that kind of parlays into them using the three of them in their heist.
I got you.
But
I got you.
if we're gonna let me talk about it, I'll tell you
Huh,
this movie had an all-star cast. I mean,
it
it
did.
had Mos Def, Edward Norton, Seth Green, Charlize Theron, Mark Wahlberg, like all of these people, and then everybody didn't like this movie. Which is just proof like you can throw all of the money and all of the acting talent, and I personally thought it was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
It
I
was
think
one of
probably
those
got a lot of
movies.
comparisons.
It did. It very much did, and it just couldn't live up to the hype. I thought it was funny,
Yeah.
and that was the thing that I mean, they even made a Napster reference. I'm a millennial. I loved that. I was totally here for that.
I'm
So,
I'm down with you too. I enjoyed it. I
mhm,
enjoyed the original too because for its time, there was a lot of cool car stuff in
right.
this. And I'm finding it hard not to mention other car movies that have similar things because they might be on your list. And I
Hmm.
don't want to ruin it like I did Kit, though I didn't ruin it because I still let you do it because it's just the kind of guy I am.
I thank you, Jamie.
Just the kind of guy I am. So, well,
Okay.
all right.
Your
Love
turn,
them.
sir.
That's a great one. So I've got two honorable mentions. The
Okay.
first is Steven Spielberg's one of his earliest directing jobs. Okay. It's from 1971, and it is a TV movie called Duel, not DUAL, like dual traction tires, if that's a thing. But Duel, like a fight. And the
Yeah.
fight takes place on the highway, on the two-lane blacktop. Centers around a guy named David Mann. David, you're a man. You could no. He's a very calm, peaceful electronics salesman played by Dennis Weaver, who was I think he played McCloud. Anyway, he's just like driving along in his 1970 or 71 or 72 Plymouth Valiant. If you go on the Internet Car Movie Database, which I went to a lot for this episode, there are some French people arguing with some Americans about what year it was. So it's going to be one of those three. Thank you, Internet Movie Car Database and Francois. Um, so he cuts off this really old, monotoned oil tanker 1955 Peterbilt 281 while driving along this road, and it starts off this chain of events, this cat and mouse game where this guy is scared for his life. And the thing about this movie that I really like, and there are going to be some other ones too, but um, is you never see the driver.
Hmm.
So there doesn't seem to be a supernatural thing, but you never see him. So the villain is the truck.
Right.
You know, it's a lot of fun, especially for a TV movie.
Hmm.
The only thing about a lot of movies back then that were made for TV is that they would crescendo up and so while you're watching it without all the commercials, it kind of breaks it a little bit for you. But I would definitely tell you to give it a whirl, especially if you're a Spielberg fan. You could really
I am.
see some of the stuff that he did that he would bring in later. I mean, this
Y-
was four years before Jaws,
You're gonna
So
have to let me borrow it because I don't know
yeah.
how I'm gonna find it.
I have I have it on VHS, so
I.
I'll convert it for you.
All right.
Um, all right. Well, the other car is this great summer movie that's okay. It's imagine this, all right? A cherry red 1973 Chevy Corvette Stingray C3 custom with the driver's side on the right side. Okay? This kid named Kenny, played by at that time a pretty hot actor named Mark Hamill, with his pretty chin, okay, which comes up later. He is a high school graduate and his class, they've built this car all year long in shop class. And when they're finally getting ready and they roll it out, like it's stolen. So he chases this car all the way to Vegas. And along the way, he meets a woman of the night in training, played by Annie Potts from Designing Women and the Ghostbusters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of becomes a love story, but there's a lot of comedy in it. Um, it's one of those things where you see the car drive behind him every once in a while. He, runs off. He like jumps on a bicycle and chases it, and all that. And it has a really good twist at the end, which I enjoyed. So it's a beautiful, beautiful car, and it is well worth watching this high octane tale of a car, a boy, and a girl.
It's a very romantic way of talking about a movie of a guy who meets his. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, yeah. She's hilarious in this movie. She really is because she's that hooker with a heart of gold, but she hadn't really started. And they drive it. She has a van, and of course it's like a late '70s van with plush carpet and stuff. That would have been cool for Kit. Like, there's like one button that looks like a fuzzy dice, and you push it, and like shack carpet comes up from the bottom, and a little disco ball comes
Damn, we don't
down.
disrespect the car like that.
I just think it would have been cool. All right. So that's our honorable mentions that I have dishonored. How about we hear, let's stick it into fifth gear and hear your number five.
All right, number five for me is Need for Speed with Aaron Paul and Rami Malek and Dakota Johnson.
Rami Malek's in this.
Yes, he is.
This is the one that they based off of like a video game, right?
It was definitely an attempt to make a movie off of a video game, and they were trying to give it a serious plot, and they were trying to do a lot of, they were very ambitious. And for that reason, they get a lot of my respect. A lot of the things that they did right. One was no CGI when it came to stunts. It was all
Okay.
practical effects. And I was a huge fan of that. I loved the fact that no matter what happened in this film, the director was very honest about the fact that he wanted no CGI. So
Okay.
anytime you saw a car flip, that car flipped. Anytime you saw a car blow up, that car blew up. But one of the other things that I loved about this movie was it I could be romanticizing this, but it felt like a love letter to Mustang fans and to car guys in general,
Okay.
because the driving was well sculpted. It was well choreographed. The way that they treated,
Choreographed.
anyway, the
You
way that
wanted
they
that. You love that.
the way that they
Start
treated
using that.
the way they treated these cars was just beautiful to me. And I say this as a guy that likes action films. I'm saying this as a guy that loves cars. The way that they spoke of Carroll Shelby in this film, the way that they referred to the Mustang, it's one of the only times of, I forgot to mention Michael Keaton is in this too.
Really?
Mhm.
He's
Uh,
Batman.
he definitely has that kind of a voice going on. Um, but one of the things that he says in the movie, the mythos of this vehicle, in the way that they made a Mustang cost millions of dollars, is that it's the last car that Carroll Shelby, in the movie at least, it's
Oh,
the last car that Carroll Shelby worked on before he passed. Because that was pretty fresh in the car community, was Carroll
okay.
Shelby's passing. Because whether you're a JDM guy, which is the Japanese vehicles, if you're a European cars guy, everybody has to respect the fact that Carroll Shelby was a monument when it came to the car community, when it came to innovation. He never stopped pushing boundaries. And
Okay.
so they called this car the Chariot of the Gods, because that was the last car that Carroll Shelby worked on. And they used one of my favorite details is that they used the right Recaro seats whenever they were making the
Okay.
mock-ups. So it's to me, that was one of my favorite things about it. And then don't
So
forget,
I'm sorry.
lest we
So the
forget them.
car looked exactly like the real last Shelby, or was this one just playing that part?
No, this was definitely a GT 500 that was given a wide body kit and special wheels that if you were to buy, you'd have to spend like almost $14,000 just for the body panels and the wheels. And they
Okay.
only made, I think, 10 of them, but they were using a Shelby GT 500 engine. They were, I mean, that was a GT 500 with a really nice body kit. Um, but I mean, in no world would this car cost more than 80, 90, maybe 100 grand at the very most. But it's a movie. You gotta have stakes. Uh, but
And potatoes. I'm sorry. I'm gonna
no,
stop. I'm gonna stop.
by all means, I can't keep up with stuff like that. Like, I love it. Joke as much as you want, and I'm gonna laugh. I just feel bad because I can't volley with that because I'm just not that clever. Mark does that to me all the time. Him
Yeah.
and Everett, they
Uh,
always make puns, and I'm just left in the dust.
it's okay. You're still pretty well. I don't know. Everett's got the hair though. So,
I remember him when he had almost none, and it was cut
oh
really,
really?
really, really short, and he looked like Doctor Who.
Who? Doctor Who? Okay.
I think it's the guy's name is Matt Smith. Is the one who has the Everett
Oh,
hair.
that Doctor Who.
Yes, that one. Um,
Hey, tangent real quick.
yeah.
So the guy who took Doctor Who after that, he was kind of an older fella. All
Mm-hmm.
right. So he's in um even saying the movie World War Z. All right.
Never saw it.
Okay. So near the end of the movie, they go to the World Health Organization and they have to find a drug and all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a doctor who helps them at one point,
Oh my
and they don't give him a name.
god. Uh-huh.
All right. And at the end of the movie, the credits roll, it has his name
Mm-hmm.
and it's WHO Doctor. And afterwards, he got the gig
Uh-huh.
and he's Doctor Who.
That's
Anyway,
amazing.
folks, that's what you get on this show, whether you deserve it or not.
All right. Well, that's my number five. Your turn.
All right. Well, my number five comes straight out, like vroom, straight out of the 1980s from 1986. It is The Wraith. Now, I could see by that one eyebrow talking to the other eyebrow going, "Hey, man, what are you doing down there? Hey, brother, what are you doing?" That you've never heard of this film.
No, I was a
So,
year old.
so this is about a mysterious driver comes into this small town that's like out in the hills and mountains of Colorado or wherever with his 1981 Dodge M4S Turbo Interceptor to wreak havoc and dispense justice
Yeah.
to a gang of car thieves and murderers.
Okay.
Okay, including Clint Howard, because he like what they do is they like set people up and they may, they'll hijack them and then they'll kill them and they'll take their car parts and all this stuff. But anyway, oh, and Charlie Sheen rides a 1984 Honda XL 350R in the movie.
All
So
right.
vroom vroom. Do they have anything to do with each other? I don't know. You'll have to watch it to find out.
Okay.
So this is a car that it's really really super sleek. It's one of these things where, for example, the car is racing with one of the drivers, pink slips and all that stuff, and it goes to get away from them, and the car just kind of slips in front, and it just and just goes right through it, and they both just blow up. And then the Wraith comes back all together and then it drives off. And they're like going, oh,
At the
just like
end
that.
of this
Oh.
movie,
Uh-huh.
does Charlie Sheen give the car to somebody else and ride away on a bicycle or on a street bike?
I don't know. Is
Mm,
Charlie Sheen even there? Tiger Blood.
what?
Tiger Blood. That's what that when one of his rants he was
I
talking
actually,
about.
I'm messing with you. I knew that one.
Okay, okay, good. I knew you did. All right, but it's a really, really cool car.
Yep.
It's a fairly well known for people my age
Mm-hmm.
because Charlie Sheen was the shizzle back then. He had a lot of riz, as the kids say. So, one of my buddies, Channing Sherman, has sent me a link today. It's called I forget what it's called, but basically you put a word in it. Like we'll say rad, and you it's on the list, and he goes, okay, for us it says rad. For the next gen whatever group, it's called something else, and then for the millennials, it's called something else, and then for X whatever, it's Riz. So I'm gonna have to get one of those to translate for me. So, but until then, we're gonna shift down to your four on the floor. Uh, four on your four favorite film.
My number four is Ford versus Ferrari.
You realize this is the point where hypothetically, if we had been zooming earlier
Uh-huh.
and hadn't recorded it, for instance,
For sure.
this would be the part where we've now caught up and it's all new for both of us.
Oh,
I mean,
so in a parallel universe.
Parallel universe. Exactly. Because that didn't
Gotcha.
happen here.
No.
Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah. Matt Damon, Christian Bale, and John Barenthal, which that dude's in a lot of movies. But anyway, this was this was an undeniable movie because it's one of the things that, first of all, solidified and launched the collaboration between Carroll Shelby and Ford Motors. He had that was the start, and it was creating the GT40 to compete against Ferrari in the Le Mans race. And the whole part of this was that it was started when Ford was making a bid to buy Ferrari from
Oh,
Fiat.
okay. I didn't know that.
So the idea was Ferrari was going to sell to Fiat, and they were trying to boost the numbers that Fiat was going to pay. So they flirted with selling to Ford. And then they were like, no. And then they sold to Fiat for more money because Fiat was like, oh, well, we need you.
Right.
So then basically to get back at them, Ford was like, well, we're going to make a car that's going to beat the Ferrari in Le Mans.
Okay.
Now, in the film, they basically presented as though it happened immediately. It didn't.
Yeah.
It took a long time, but eventually they did in fact beat the Ferrari in Le Mans. And most of what happens in this movie absolutely did happen in real life. Pretty
Yeah.
tragically, but almost everything that happened in this movie happened in real life. And the relationship between Carroll Shelby and I can't remember the driver's name, unfortunately. But their relationship was contentious because
That's
they
the
had worked
Christian
together.
Bale character is the
Correct.
driver, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. That was I just looked this information so that I'd remember it. This is a testament to how bad my brain is. Um and there were so many things about this movie that I absolutely loved because again, this movie was a driver's film. This was a car enthusiast movie. They were very good about being conscientious of parts. So when they were talking about parts, they don't just rattle off random things. They actually talk about the mechanics and how they were switching out the brake assembly at the Le Mans race because they
Okay.
were problem solving on the fly. The GT40 was infamous for having bad brakes. And so instead of having to do a brake job, they just took out the entire assembly and
Wow.
replaced it. Yeah, it completely everything, the entire assembly, the whole knuckle, and they just put a new one in. Uh, and so to me, like that was fantastic. And also, I know that Matt Damon's done a lot of things, but I this is one of my favorite roles he's ever been in. And one of the reasons was because he was very good at portraying Carroll Shelby's constantly being overburdened by bureaucracy.
Okay.
He one of the most famous things he said was, "You cannot win a race by committee,"
True.
and that was one of the coolest things he ever said. Uh, you
I've
know,
seen the scene where the driver, Christian Bale, takes
mhm.
who I guess is the Ford guy,
That's
uh,
Matt Damon as Carroll Shelby taking at the time the CEO of Ford Motors.
for a drive and like the okay, we can do this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
I've
makes him
seen that scene
cry.
several times.
That
Yeah.
really did happen. One of the funnier things about it is continuity wise, a lot of people harped on the fact that it was a right side steering with a right hand shift,
Okay.
which,
Up against the door.
right,
Yeah.
they did do that for this car specifically because in the Le Mans race, you had to have a right side steering car. But
Okay.
because all of the drivers were going to be Americans, with few exceptions, they rearranged the transmission so that the shifter was still on the right.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they didn't have any issue with it because they won it eventually.
Eventually, they did in fact win it.
Wow. That's really cool. Never watched the whole movie, but I might have to put it on the list.
I recommend you do.
Definitely go back and watch Knight Rider. Coming in at number 4 is the 1973 Ford Falcon GT350.
It's a long movie name.
Mm-hmm. Well, they just call it GT3. Um, that is driven by Max in Mad Max 2, or as they called it in the US, the Road Warrior.
Okay.
Such a bad looking car, man. I mean, it had that thing on the front that would go, would make it go fast. That's not too
Mhm.
technical, I hope. I mean, it was,
Nope.
yeah. hmm hmm Um, are you familiar with this one?
I am, in fact.
Okay. What are your thoughts on it?
Never saw the movie. I just know the car. And it is a cool car.
Well, it's a cool movie. It's really, I would tell you to actually, if you had to, I would tell you to skip Mad Max and go straight to the Road Warrior. Even though Mad Max is awesome, if you specially watch it, they dubbed him when they released it in the US, which they released it after they released the Road Warrior. But if you can find the original version, it's got Mel Gibson's like really big Australian accent in it. But the Indians are very many people. It's the two color
He had an Australian accent?
because he was
I didn't.
Australian.
No, he's not.
Mhm. Look it up.
See, Jamie, now I have to know this. Mel Gibson. I would never look up something like this normally,
Uh-huh.
but since
You
we've
would
been
look it up
hit,
abnormally? Like you
absolutely.
use your nose to type? Do, 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 do. Here's your nose.
He was born in New York.
Uh-huh. But he was raised in
That
Australia.
is not the same thing, Jamie.
He has the Australian accent, so he lived there like a long time.
If it okay, he may have it one time, but I have seen that dude talk enough to know that he doesn't anymore.
Well, this you should see him. He is like incredibly young in this film.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
It's like, wait a minute, what?
See, I had you going. I really have no idea, but I do know that it was dubbed
Oh,
because
that's but did he dub himself?
no, somebody else did. Yeah,
So
but
did he
that's what I'm
just
saying
change his
now.
accent for
Like,
the second one?
no, yeah, he had his accent for the second one because he had made more movies by that time and was
Oh.
learning to like his American. Are you buying all of this? So it's a great movie, but what is your number three?
It's the movie Cars. Mm.
Oh,
Yeah. Uh, so first things first, uh, my grandfather was a huge Chevy guy. In this movie, the main car in it is a C6 Corvette. That's what they
okay.
used. That's what they used for the audio. The people at Pixar, when they were asked what car is Lightning McQueen, they're like, he's a C6 Corvette. So he is an
Okay.
LS3 Corvette. And so, but going into a couple of things in terms of like massive cast, I had to make a list. Owen
Okay.
Wilson, Paul Newman, Bonnie Hunt, George Carlin, my favorite comedian of all time and the man responsible for my education as a young man,
Okay.
Cheech Marin, Tony Shalhoub, Larry the Cable Guy, and Michael Keaton. Not,
And John Ratzenberger.
I don't know who that is.
He's Mater. No, not Mater. Oh, he is Mater's dad. Isn't Mater the truck?
Yeah, but he doesn't have a dad in this movie.
Oh, must be in Cars too.
Okay.
Yeah, because see, I just met Ratzenberger this weekend and got him to sign my copy of Motel Hell,
You
and
just had that in the chamber, didn't you? Just
I
ready.
did. I mean, this is
Okay.
he says he's only signed like 15 or 20 of these in his life, and I understand it's backwards now. So, oh, I know. I'll show it to you from the back, and then it won't be backward. Oh, never mind. So that's a lot of people in that movie.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. But on top of that, it's got everything that you want to have in a kids movie. You have the kind of I'm the best and nobody can teach me nothing who gets quickly humbled. And then, it's a wonderful coming of age story. It's got a cute little love thing. He has a new best friend. All of these character actors, I couldn't find a single thing that I didn't love about this movie. I also love that they even down to little details like the flies were little Volkswagen Beetle bugs. Like, I loved that. I
Yeah.
thought that was so fantastic.
Now,
I
what
also
is
love
the
that he learns how to drift, which I thought was weird.
yeah? What is the one where there's like one of them's like a British international secret agent or something like that? I don't know. So
What?
I don't know. There was one like that. So I don't know.
That might have been the second one.
Yeah, there was like a flying plane too. Well, of course, all planes fly. So Mel Gibson's dad won Jeopardy in 1968, and
Okay.
he took that money and moved the entire family to Australia. So he grew up from like 12 on, okay, and that's where the accent came from. Okay. He is a permanent resident of Australia and the only Australian to win an Oscar for Best Picture. I just remembered it all.
Yeah, sure.
It all came
Turn your
back to me.
camera around, Jamie. Turn the
All
camera around. Let me see that screen.
all all just came straight
Is that
to
why
the
you keep
old
looking to the
dome
left?
to the left. Yeah, there's nothing over there.
I'm out of your screen.
Oh, up there. So my number three is a movie that you will love.
If I know it.
You have. You know this movie because we've discussed this car
Okay.
ad nauseum to some
Oh,
people, which is the 1970 Dodge Challenger 440 Magnum with 375 horsepower that's used to play Ship's Mast in Quentin Tarantino's masterpiece, Death Proof. This is
all
not
right.
the car that is death proof,
Mm-mm.
but it almost brings his death to proof. Anyway,
Are you keeping score of your puns?
no, no, I would click, 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 click,
We should
click.
turn that into a drinking game.
Woo! That would
Oh
be
man, no,
bad.
that is a beautiful car. It is
Yeah,
such
it
a beautiful car.
really, really, really is. And a great cast. I love when you find a movie that will take female roles and they make them, I don't mean to be whatever, but they make them make sense. Like, you've got one of them who is a stunt woman. You've got another one who is a stunt driver. There's a reason that they can drive these cars and they know these cars. They're gearheads themselves. And I just love the fact that Zoe Bell, her character, she kind of plays herself basically, has always wanted to drive this car, the Vanishing Point car. And they just happen to be, I don't know, an hour away from a guy who's selling one, and they go and drive it. And it is just awesome. It does kind of hurt my heart every time I think about it because there were so many Dodge Challengers crashed in this movie. So much so that, and this one I'm not messing around. I'm 100% certain. People found out that they were buying cars, the Challengers, that specific one, to wreck them, and people stopped. It was very, very difficult for him to get people to sell them, even at higher amounts of money, because they're like, no, we know what you're going to do with this car.
Mhm.
So, but I don't know, 17 of them or something that they wrecked.
They had the exact same problem with Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For sure. But was that a 69 or a 70?
I
It was
don't
a
know.
Charger too.
It
I
was a
know that.
char. It was a that one was a Charger, but I do remember because they filmed that here,
Hmm.
and they were buying up every single beater that they could find,
Yeah.
anything. And I think one of the things that they ended up having to do was they ended up having to uh like I'm trying to remember what the process was. Whatever they more or less were fitting panels on the sides of cars that
Oh,
didn't they were just Frankensteining them to look like it, and they were
yeah.
using Chevy LS1s in the cars because they were having so much trouble getting running ones that they were like, we'll just take one that looks right
Yeah.
and we will make it run.
And you kept a couple of screen ready cars that,
Mhm.
you didn't wreck, but
Right.
that, and I bet you the police cars too, they had to go through a lot of those cars.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but nobody cares about this.
No, not really. Okay. So let's stop there for a minute.
Okay.
and discuss what is going on in the land of David.
Even less than last time, which was pretty short list.
Wow.
I know. Uh, I'm just now coming out of wedding season, so I'm trying to relax, remove a lot of clutter that's in my house. I redid my game room and got rid of a 3D printer, so now I'm strictly filament printing.
Oh, you're
Uh,
not resin anymore?
nah,
It was a lot of hassle.
it was a lot of hassle, and it
What
was
I've heard.
fun and all. But I'll be honest with you, I have found that the thing that I do the most with 3D printing is not what I originally thought I was going to do.
Oh, okay.
I have a lot of fun printing tchotchkes, which is fine, but honestly, structural organizational tools, I
Hmm.
could not have imagined how many things I have printed that I ended up finding incredibly useful.
Wow.
But I'm getting my office set up because I'm hopefully going to be starting a streaming channel where I play Destiny. We'll
Because
see.
Destiny's awesome.
That is one of my favorite games. It is the game that I play the most. It's the game that I have the most hours in, and I've been playing it a lot. I've been trying to get good enough to so that whenever I'm playing, the people watching aren't endlessly frustrated how much I suck at it.
Yeah.
Um,
Not
but
endlessly frustrated.
uh-huh.
I mean, there is an end to it.
Yeah, when the show's over, I guess.
Well, before then.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Jamie.
Do you talk to people when you're playing? Is that kind of what it is?
Well, so me and my buddy Chris play a lot. Whenever we play, I mean, streaming. I haven't done my first stream yet. I wanted to. I just finished building the gaming computer. I just got the mic set up. That's why I did all the lights and stuff for the everything on the wall.
So it wasn't just for you to come on this show. I see there's an ulterior motive. Okay, no, I'm happy for you.
I'll tell you what, it stays up even if I don't do the streaming because it does look good for your show.
It does.
For the record, I am contributing. Not only am I contributing equipment to you on your side of the
Uh-huh.
camera, I'm giving Mark a camera so that he actually looks half decent whenever he's on your show.
Wow,
So,
that's
so.
a good camera.
Ah, yes. Ah,
I'm
you
so,
did roast him. I didn't even have to do
I'm
it.
sorry. I love you, Mark. I love you, but that one was like this is a tiny,
Ah,
tiny barrel, and like a big old
ah,
duck is sitting in the barrel, and it like takes up the whole
ah.
top of the barrel. So sorry.
Mark, it wasn't me, dude. I got.
I'm so sorry. Not. Um. Well, that just goes to show what an altruistic person you are.
I do try.
Yeah.
But yeah, so other than finally wrapping up some work, kind of cooling my jets when it comes to all the photography, we're going to see how the streaming thing goes. I may hate it. I don't know. Maybe no one's going to watch and I won't even notice that I'm playing it to the void. Who knows?
Who
But
knows?
I will say one of the things that I'm looking forward to the most in the coming months is that you and I have a lot of shows scheduled, which is
We
really
do.
exciting.
And not just Fave Fives. We also have a
Nope.
complete disarray.
Which I am super looking forward to because obviously I can babble on all day long and you've given me permission.
You? You? You?
Yes.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
I
but I
can't
can do
believe
it while
that.
following rules, you see.
This is true. This is true. And give us a little tease there of what you're going to be talking about on
Well,
Complete
you
Disarray.
see, there's this
Is it,
show that
or
I
is it
like
this
a
one?
lot. It's this one right there.
Okay.
And it is of my favorite show, Fringe. This is from that show. There you go, everybody. You can see
Uh-huh.
my tattoo that no one knows of and doesn't like. But yeah, our first episode is going to be talking about the TV show Fringe, which stars
Right.
Joshua Jackson, and it is a great combination, basically, of Sherlock meets X Files.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So I've watched one episode so far. I have
Mm-hmm.
two more I'm going to watch, but you are going to carry the majority of this episode, and I will just make quippy puns throughout.
I would expect nothing less.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, awesome. You've also, I mean, I know you have to do a lot of editing. I mean, it's almost like you're finding things to edit that just like blooming in your yard, even, like
No, the things
Oh,
I
look,
find
here's
in
something else I have to edit.
no, see the things that I find in my yard, I give to other people to edit.
Oh, okay.
uh-huh.
Um, moving on. Um,
No harm, no
all
foul.
right. All right, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
It is now our here we go. Penultimate choices. You even do that cool. I swear. Um, all right. Tell us what your second favorite. Drop it down to second and tell us what your favorite is.
This
Which you would
engine's gonna blow
do.
up by the end of the show. You know that, right?
You would do that if you were push starting your car as a standard. You'd put it into second. But anyway, yes, we've. Luckily, it's an e-car, so
As I say, God, I hope you don't drive a manual, Jamie. My penultimate film is going to
uh,
be all of them at once because I'm not going to break it down. It's Fast and Furious.
all of the cars in all of the movies.
No, I just there's
All
so
the,
many movies that it would be difficult for me to parse out the one that I like the most. And
okay.
there is one consistency in that the Charger is present in every one of those films except for one. I
Huh, okay.
I love them. I mean, an
That's
entire
the black Charger.
correct. An
Okay.
entire generation of car guys, and I do mean an entire generation of car guys, were created because of the Charger, the Eclipse, and the Supra that were in the first movie.
Okay.
That those two, and I mean that because you had guys that were obsessed with that Mitsubishi who never looked at hot rods, and then you
Okay.
had guys who loved hot rods but never looked at the classic cars. I mean, at the European cars or the Japanese market cars, and so there was a little bit of something for everybody. Now, the mechanic babble was nonsense. You know, it was your typical Hollywood dribble. They were not. They were saying non-mechanic things and talk like spoon engines. Like all of
Never
the
heard of that.
language was in. Yeah, no, neither is any car guy. But the bad dialogue notwithstanding, they just made kids love cars. You
Wow,
know,
that's kind of cool though.
and that's in because they were characters. You know, it didn't matter that the pretty blonde cop dude was driving terribly and saying the wrong things. That green car was so cool, and it
So
made the
awesome.
yeah,
Ah!
like people left that film wanting to just drive fast. I did not count how many car wrecks this movie probably caused. You know what I mean? How many
You're
speeding
right.
tickets? The market of car insurance just went after
Hmm.
this movie came out, and it never came down.
Yeah,
So,
I don't doubt that.
and
So,
it also gave Vin Diesel, who had arguably done a few things, it gave him a production company that he's done a lot
mhm,
of great things with. But I'll
yeah,
begin. Like it was one of the things that both created this very polarizing this versus that because that's the nature of racing, right?
yeah,
But it also gave everybody something to sort of coalesce around
because it's
because,
about family.
well, sure, but also you could, it was one of those things that proved that car guys are car guys. And we can all nitpick over this and that because that's what we do. But
Right.
car guys respect cars, and if if you love the game, then you're in it for it.
Okay.
And that is one of those movies that I was like 14 or 15 when the first
Oh
one
wow.
came out, hadn't gotten to driving yet, and I remember like I thought about it because I was watching one of the newer ones, regrettably, and thinking I'm so glad that I was not actually driving when the first one came out because
Yeah.
my dad would have just my insurance would have been so much more expensive because I'd have
Wow.
been flooring it at every red light and putting
Yeah.
on every single AutoZone modification you can think of. But yeah, that is I can't pick one, but I can tell you that that franchise is easily one of the most like cornerstone car guy movies.
Okay. All right. So I have a question about something you said.
Sure.
You said that the Charger is throughout all of the movies, but I
Mm-hmm.
thought in the first movie they wrecked it
Yes, they did, but you
and then
could
they
rebuild it.
rebuilt it.
Yes.
Okay. So here's a little bit. I'm gonna traumatize you because you are not a fan of Herbie the Love Bug. But since if you've ever seen the Herbie the Love Bug with Lindsay Lohan, when she's trying to find a car, she's going through an old car junkyard, and
Hmm.
she sits in a busted up Charger.
Okay.
That is the actual stunt car remains that they crashed in the first film of Fave Fave Five Fast Furiouses.
I think you're getting your F's mixed up, buddy. Um,
Whew, I'm glad it was those then.
right? So that's fun to know. How do you know that?
Um, I was reading something about because at one point I was doing a deep dive on um, killer cars. Haven't come in, haven't still a ways off. So I was doing deep dives on some of my favorite cars, and I got onto kind of off of that topic into just cars. Started reading about the Dukes of Hazzard cars and all of the ones that they've been crashed and something like that. And then it went to okay, well this car has been used in this and this and this, and then they say it's used in the Fast Furious faves from fans.
Yeah,
Um,
no.
and and here's a fun fact. And then
Mhm.
they show a picture of her sitting in it. I don't think it has wheels on it and no uh, windshield or anything like that. But they said that is the actual stunt car because something about the car guy from the Herbie movie was the same car guy that worked on Fast and the Furious, so he knew where that car was.
Okay. That's really
So
cool.
I did not make that story up.
Mm.
So
Are you sure you're
you
not
could
reading it off the
tell.
screen right now?
No, no, it's right off the dome. I promise you,
Okay.
because you brought it up.
That's
Off
true.
your so I I'm good, but in this instance I'm just not. Um, all right. So for my choice, I am picking the film Death Race 2000.
Is that the
Now,
one with
this is
Jason
a
Statham?
okay, that's the remake.
Oh, okay, my
All
bad.
right. In the no, it is called Death Race 2002, I believe, or it might just be called Death Race.
Okay.
Um, but this was a movie by that Roger Corman. I think he directed it as well as being a producer on it, and it stars David Carradine as a character named Frankenstein. All right, and this is a near future where the government has kind of been taken over by corporations. Um, and they hold an annual race called the Death Race, where they race from like, I don't know, New York or whatever, all the way across to California. And on the way, they kill people. They drive them over, okay? Run them over, whatever they need to do. And they score points based on how old the person is, if it's a man or a woman, if it's they're in a wheelchair, if they're a baby, whatever. Um, and so Frankenstein has a car that is called the Monster. All right. And it's this really cool the kit car. It's got green scales and it's got teeth in the front of it and stuff. Um, it looks like it's a Dean Shalavette, which I was unfamiliar with that term, but basically it's built on a 1960s Volkswagen Beetles chassis, which they also use for dune buggies. It was a kit car originally built and then changed by car customizers James Powers and Dean Jeffries, which are also supposedly big deals. The Monster had a skull stick shift and a turbo button for added excitement. Although it had a V8 engine look to it, it actually used a Chevrolet Corvair engine with 110 horsepower. And it, even though it had it on the hood, it was not a supercharged V8, and it was from New York to California, by the way. So, um, this movie is also known because Many say without this movie, there would have been no Rocky Balboa movie because Sly Stallone plays a character, a driver in this. He plays like a Bugsy Malone because they all have their own little,
Dick.
things that they do. And so his car, he's called Machine Gun Kelly. His car had like two Bowie knives sticking out the front, and it had Tommy guns on it and stuff. But he took the money that he made from this movie, along with some others that had been put together, and went out and filmed the Rocky movie.
Wow.
Now, again, it did happen right after it, but
Hmm.
it was a big chunk, and he also learned a lot. Roger Corman is someone who is very free with his talent, much like you, and so he was always giving him tips and stuff like that. But anyway, it is Death Race 2000. Um, there you go.
That's
I would tell
wild.
you to watch it, but I don't think it's streaming anywhere. The disc is out of print. And stupid me, I, of course, have a copy of it. But when I sent things to Roger Corman for him to autograph, I sent my copy of Death Race 2000 and I framed it. So now I can't watch it. But anyway, all right. We've talked about movies with cars. We've talked about cars that were in movies. We talked about cars that had come to life on the screen for us. But now we're ready for your absolute ultimate favorite car film.
All
David,
right.
please pop the trunk and reveal your selection.
I was kind of hoping you go shift into first because that would be the
Well,
anyway.
I mean, you tore me up about the manuals, so I mean, even I know you
Tore
don't go
you
from
up,
second to
huh?
first. Rightly
Well,
so.
I will bring this full circle with Nicolas Cage in Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yes. Now, again, you know me, I'm always going to ask this question. Did you see the original?
No, there was one.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead. Okay, please proceed.
So, uh, first thing again, these all-star casts: Nicolas Cage, Angelina Jolie, Timothy Oliphant, Giovanni Ribisi, Delroy Lindo, Robert Duvall, Will Patton, uh, Shay
See, I knew
McBride.
Will Patton was in a movie.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, you were.
I like
Just
that.
the wrong movie,
I
though.
like when I. Oh,
That's like
maybe
getting
I'm
the problem right,
clairvoyant.
but getting the math wrong.
Maybe I knew that this was the movie you were going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Future. Future boy. Sorry, go ahead. I'm
You
really
know
low in
what?
sleep. I had a lot of convention this weekend.
Hey, dude, I'm not mad at you. It's funny. But I will say, in this movie, it's probably one of the only films where Nicolas Cage is like a normal guy.
Oh, okay.
He's an
Yeah, those are
actual
few and far
normal human,
between.
right? He's a normal human being. Angelina Jolie is, she's sort of just at that point launching into the stratosphere of her famedom. Timothy Oliphant really hadn't been discovered yet. This was pre-Justified and all of that other stuff.
Love him.
Giovanni Ribisi was still really young, and he had only really done a few things.
I wonder if he'd
You
done
know,
Friends by that point.
yeah, he did definitely. He had
Okay.
done Friends by then. Delroy Lindo, who has been a ton of things,
Oh, yeah.
one of my all-time favorite actors. Him in Congo is my favorite performance of his, by the way.
You need to
Stop
talk to
eating my
Nelson.
sesame cake. What?
You and Nelson need to get together one day because Congo is one of his all-time favorite films.
Oh, it's a good one.
Loves it.
I love that movie. Um, but I mean, and then Robert Duvall. Robert Duvall is one
Yeah.
of the most well-respected actors, and he was in this, and it was just a car flick. That's all it was. When this movie came out, it was like, hey, fast cars, and then they're like, oh, all of these actors that are going to become ridiculously famous at some point in time
Yeah.
for one thing or another. It was kind of like the Mickey Mouse Club for people that would eventually become A-listers, right? Man. But again, this movie was a car movie about a car guy for car guys. And because he says it in the movie. Giovanni Ribisi plays
He's Nick Cage's brother, right?
yeah, so in the movie it's
Okay.
Memphis Reigns, and that's played by Nicolas Cage. And then he has his little brother, and his little brother's played by Giovanni Ribisi. And Giovanni Ribisi makes a comment about how, oh, you were always going for the fast money. He's like, I never did it for the money. I did it for the cars. And he's
Giovanni,
talking
that he plays Purple
Kit Rain.
Rains, right?
Kit Rains.
Oh, I thought it was Purple Rains.
No, no, it's a completely different thing.
Okay.
It's the best Super Bowl performance of all time, actually.
Ever.
Right?
God made it rain for Prince.
Exactly. But yeah,
Sorry.
no, he plays. It's not Kit. It's Kip Rains. He plays. So Giovanni Ribisi plays Kip. Nicholas Cage plays Memphis. But first of all, cool names, right?
So
Memphis
cool.
Reigns is such a cool name. And but no, like that movie had so many magnificent vehicles in it. Such a simple premise.
Yeah.
This was one of those things where like this movie was Need for Speed before they made the Need for Speed movie.
Eleanor, right?
Yes, Eleanor was the Shelby GT 500 Cobra.
Yeah.
And that car has become an icon because of this film, more than she ever was.
Yeah.
But
It's worth $1 million now,
is it?
right? I mean, that was from the other story you told about
That
Shelby.
one was worth way more. You can buy Eleanor for like 85 grand if you go buy a kit one.
Hmm. Oh, he talks?
No.
Oh.
KI 1T. 1T.
Oh.
Kit car.
So it's KI1T. So it's Kite. Kaiwant. Kawanat.
Oh, Jamie, I think you need a nap, brother.
Kaiwant.
I thought I was the Asian. This is getting weird.
All
But
right.
yes, it's but
Great.
that movie was a car movie, even to the part where they ish on the fact that like classic cars, as pretty as they can be, are not always mechanically reliable. Because
No, no.
there is a part where he's raw dogging the car and he's in it, and then all of a sudden it just and he tries to crank and he's like, oh, don't do this, don't. He's talking to the car, and it's just like,
Yeah.
that's such a car guy thing. We
Yeah.
absolutely yell at our cars.
Yeah.
And then finally
I talked to Mr. Echo some mornings. So, you know,
what
my new car, it's called Mr. Echo.
did you
Because
name
I
it
have to
after a
name my
character
car.
from Lost?
Yeah. Yeah. I have to
Okay.
name my car, or the girls will give it a female name and say it's a girl.
Mm.
So, like, literally, as soon as and it's a dark gray. And so I called him Mr. Echo, and I was like, ha, you can't female name him.
Okay. Well, Jamie, what
And
is your number one?
he's got a lot of space for junk in his trunk too. Just gonna say.
Mm. What's your number one, Jamie?
My ultimate absolute favorite is Satan's main mode of transportation in the 70s.
Okay.
It is a 1971 Lincoln Continental Mark III that's been chopped down.
Okay.
It is from the 1977 movie The Car, which this was such a formative movie for me. I can remember watching it when it came out on TV. So basically, the movie starts out with these two cyclists who are riding along in on a desert highway, but it's kind of like in the mountains. And this car comes out of nowhere, and it has this horn, and it
Hmm.
goes, "Dun, dun, 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 dun," and it ends up hitting one of them and then chasing the other one down and bumping on its tire and then kills him. So the sheriff, played by James Brolin, his name's Wade Parents, whatever. He is tasked to investigate the case, but tragedy strikes when his deputy is killed by the same black sedan. Witnesses claim that the car was driving itself with no one behind the wheel. And it's
Hmm.
really cool because you can see sometimes the car's point of view, and so the glass has this deep dark red filter to it.
Mhm.
So you're kind of, as it goes along, you're kind of thinking, oh, okay, it's like the devil, you know?
Mhm.
Um, and the car poses threats more and more. It runs over a tuba player. But during the practice at a local school for parade, the car chases the kids, tries to run them over. But luckily, his teacher girlfriend, Lauren, who's played by Kathleen Lloyd, which that's okay. I know you probably don't know her. They end up going and hiding in a cemetery, and the car won't get to him.
Mm.
So it's really cool. So he has to figure out what's going on, and the climactic end is explosive. So I love the film. I have it VHS, I have it on DVD, and I watch it on the reg. It's one of those ones you can just put on. It's got a
Mhm.
bunch of character actors in it. Ronnie Cox, the a young Ronnie Cox, which was the jerk in RoboCop.
Mhm.
That he's in it. He's one of the deputies. But anyway, great film. But the car is iconic. And when you talk about, like I said earlier, I was going to come back to this. This is the movie where the car is a character in the film,
Mhm.
and it would not be the same with a Nissan. You know,
No,
it's
no,
just So, so I would ask. I would tell you. I think it's actually on Prime right now.
really.
Yeah, I think so because I watched it not too long ago. So I know that I always throw stuff your way. I would tell you to find this movie because when you watch it at the very end of the film, you have to understand while you're watching it that there's no CGI happening at this point.
Mhm.
And it's one of those like, was there a baby? I mean, was there a ghost in the three men and a baby scene or not? This is one of those kind of scenes. So
Mm.
anyway, anybody else out there, if you know this movie or you haven't seen it and you want to find it, I want to hear your thoughts on the very end of the movie. And do you see it like I see it? And you have to watch it to find out what I'm talking about. What is it? It's like one of those 3D prints that you look at and you have to stare, and then finally it's a sailboat, So,
All
well,
right. Well, I have to put that on my list of things to watch.
thank you. That does it. We have counted down 12 car movies with no crossover.
And we
That's
only did
amazing.
it one time.
Well, yeah, but once of all of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. I like this. I like this. Dave, I want to thank you for putting up with me tonight. I know I'm in a strange mood,
Ah, you
but
good, bro?
I love you, man.
Always a
Love you.
good time, man. Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. I can't wait to do the other 16 we have lined up. Um, Thank you out there for choosing to listen and watch if you are Fave Five from Fans. We are thrilled that you merged and joined us on the highway of the information superhighway exit on ramp thing. If you enjoyed the podcast, we'd be incredibly grateful if you shared it with a friend and you give us a 5-star review on whatever your podcast platform is. And I'm going to start something new. If you leave me a review, if you'll screen capture it and send it to me on X, Fave the number five from fans, or on Instagram, spelled out Fave Five from Fans, you tag me on there, and I'm going to give you a shout out on the next episode because those are very important to me. Your support means the world, and it helps the Plastic Microphone Studios to grow and thrive. 2025 is going to be the year I'm taking it to the next level. So anything you can do is greatly appreciated. Like my good friend here has really gone out. His karma is so good right now. I'm telling you, it's incredible. So connect with us on social media platforms like Twitter and Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok, all of Blue Sky. I heard of something called Mastodon. Have you heard of that?
Nope.
Yeah, they're coming up with all of them anywhere. I'm not on there yet, but I guess I'll have to be. Come in and join the conversation. Let us know if we missed your favorite car movie, because there's a lot of them out there. Um, so let us know, and we can't wait for you to, share some of that and enjoy the thrilling content with you. Keep the good times rolling. New episodes come out every Friday, unless they don't. So be sure to subscribe and follow us so that you can catch all of the episodes, and be watching us on TikTok, because in the near future we're going to start having some cool little things um, on there, shorts or videos or whatever they're called. Um, Big news coming out from there too. So anyway, and remember, folks, it may not be the best, it may not be the most popular, but if it's your favorite, then it's good enough for us. Thank you for joining us, Dave. Take us out.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you for having me, and we look forward to next time. Mm. Forgive him. He needs some sleep. Go to bed, Jamie.